Our race truck shifts into high gear as I get my custom race seat installed, and Matt helps me add this new body.
Welcome to TruckU. I'm Matt Steele.
Hi, I'm Bruno Massel.
Now today we've got the race truck back in the shop. Now this baby's probably 81, 82% done, right? We're getting close, but there's a few more things we need to get done before we send you-know-who out on the track.
Now it's all the fun stuff because it's stuff like mounting the body, and we got a brand new seat coming, and one that's custom made for me because that's how I roll, right?
You might have heard that.
You know, but that stuff hasn't shown up just yet, so while we're waiting on the little brown truck to come, we can do some stuff, some creature comforts for me inside of here and relocate some of the equipment to fit me.
One is the shifter. Now we've got a ratchet style shifter that's going to hook up to the 3-speed automatic transmission. Now one of the issues that we've got is, and this is going to build up his ego, but Bruno's a little bit bigger than the guy that used to race this truck. So we've got some room issues and we have to move a few things around to make it comfortable for him.
Yeah, first thing is this will probably just go forward a little bit here and maybe even on a little bit of an angle to be comfortable for me as a driver. You don't want to have to look for things and you don't want to be cramped when you're trying to do your shifting. So this will make things life a little easier for me. And Matt mentioned the ratchet shift on it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the ratchet style shifters, there's a big advantage to that versus, having to push forward, squeeze everything. There's a lot to think about shifting into other gears. That makes it nice and easy. You're going down the track, you're banging around, just boom, 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 gear to gear to gear. It's nice and easy. And it's got the reverse lockout, which Bruno's familiar with from the drag racing world.
Right, it makes it foolproof, that ratchet style, and also makes it very safety conscious in the fact that you can't accidentally knock it into reverse. So what you do is you go up and bang this lockout out of the way, and there you go. This way you can't go from neutral to reverse on accident. You don't slam this thing over the wall that way either.
Yeah, or you're going 100 miles an hour and you slam it into reverse on accident, which is bad for you and the people behind you. Real bad. So go ahead. Here's a marker, dude. Go ahead and mark that in place. Hey, I gave you a little autograph right there, too. That's free of charge, man.
Hey, man, I can be able to get maybe 25 cents for that on eBay. That one fan you got?
When you're installing the shifter cable, there's one thing you really want to pay attention to, and that's not to kink the thing. Very, very important. When you come out of the brass that's on the end of it, you want to come out straight for a couple inches like we did here, and then run it down. Keep everything out of the way, no kinks, nice smooth curves, and then actually we're going to tie it in right here. Now this is where it's all going to come together, but this is kind of hard to see, so I'll just bring it down here kind of loose and show you how this all works. Now we've got a lot of different brackets for various different automatic transmissions. This is the bracket that we need right here. This bracket's going to go into place right about there. Now here's our shifter rod for the transmission, so this is where it's all going to tie in and everything's going to come together. So when I get this all bolted on and everything's together, it's going to look like this, and this is where all the work's going to take place. Now this is kind of tough to see right there, so let's bring it down here real quick. We'll slide this on. There's some more lock washers and nuts and everything that are going to hold that on. But basically, when you get down to the end, there's a couple little sleeves to keep the dust out. You've got this little piece as well. Now this is going to go on, and you got some fine threads right here, so this can take you a minute or two, but sometimes we get lucky and we get it right away. And this is actually what's going to connect with your shifter on the transmission. So let's get this in. Like I said, that can be a little bit tricky, but when it's all put together and it's all right, see this bolt's up here, this is catches in your shifter right there, there's a catch pin on the back side, and then look at that. As you shift, that's basically what it's going to look like, except the bracket's not going to be moving around. So that being said, we come back down here. Now, let's say it's all together properly and everything's in place, but you notice that the shifts aren't doing exactly what you want them to do. Well, down here you've got some adjustment. Right about here you've got about 1.5 inches of adjustment. You can just come down here, take it apart, move things around, slide them in and out. You've also got about another 1 inch of adjustment right down here. So there is plenty of wiggle room in this, so if you get it all back together and it's not perfect right away, just come down here, keep working on it, and you'll eventually get it all dialed in.
we'll just leave that there.
That's a good start for now. Now, Bruno was talking about the delivery guy a little bit earlier. Well, he just took off and brought us all of our stuff. We've got the new body for the truck. That's going to be awesome. We'll get to that in a little bit. And we've got this, and I know you're going to dig this, man. It's a custom-made racing seat made to Bruno's exacting specifications.
Now, it's like Christmas in here. This is really cool. It's what all the top NASCAR teams have. It's state-of-the-art in the world of race seats. Now, we could have went the standard way with some cheap little seat inside here,
right.
But I value my safety, and I know my family does, at least until the insurance policy pays off. And what this is going to give you complete protection against impact all the way around. You can see how beefy this thing is. It's made specifically for the driver. Now, you take 11 different measurements throughout your body, and that's how they form this. Or if you want, you can go up to their facility, and they'll actually mold one around you. It's really cool. When we talk about racing, I race for 6 seconds at a time. This thing you're in for a couple hours, so driver fatigue really starts to set in, and that's where this comes in. Not only does it keep your head from popping off, but it keeps your head and neck from getting fatigued going down throughout the course of a race.
Randy LaJoie is the brains behind this whole deal right there. He's known for safety and innovations right there. And you talk about the seat and over-engineering, and that's what it's all about. I mean, look at this thing. It is strong. It is put together. It's welded up nice, and that is a good, solid seat. Dude, you are in good hands, my friend.
Yeah, I feel much better about climbing in this thing.
How's that, dude?
I appreciate that. It's great.
Welcome back. We're simulating some driving conditions for Bruno. Want to make sure that he's comfortable. Now, all kidding aside, that's actually feeling pretty good. It's looking a little bit tight, though,
Honestly, at first glance, I thought I was going to be a little claustrophobic in here because the seat really wraps around you pretty well, but you really need it. I'm not used to it, but it actually is pretty comfortable to sit in. The only problem we run into is that this seat, because it's so big, it actually pushed me forward farther than we originally configured. We thought we'd have a standard seat and give me a little more leg room, a little more room with the steering wheel, so now we're going to have to make some modifications. Good thing we put the shifter up forward because now we're going to have to move the steering wheel a little farther forward and the pedals all the way to the front of the foot box so my knees aren't going to be in my chest. But a little bit more modification, this thing should be good to go, though.
Yeah, good call on the shifter. You look a little bit like my grandfather in there driving that thing, but that's cool. It's a good look. Now, when you talk about installing the seat like this, there's 3 different areas where they've got mounting holes on the back. You've got the upper back, the lower back, and down there on the bottom as well, so you can get a good sturdy connection. We need to make up some brackets for this just to get it in there. But, all right, dude, really, I want to get you lined up to where you're comfortable because I'm going to make some marks back here with these holes on the upper back and make sure we have our angle and everything.
Right now, I think we're at the right angle up and down. I've got plenty of headroom, it feels like. What do you think?
See, I'm thinking you should go more like this way.
All right, hold on. No, I think this is good right here. I'm pretty well centered through the middle as well.
I'll mark that.
Go ahead, mark it here.
I'll mark that. We can get this bracket done. Then we can make the other bracket for the bottom. That'll be much easier when you're not sitting in it, though. Now, this is going into Bruno's exact specifications, which we've talked about. So there's really no right or wrong way to do it. It's all about making you comfortable inside here. And if you guys are building something similar to this, you know what I'm talking about. So there's a number of different ways that you can do it. Bottom line is, though, you could have the best and safest racing seat in the world, which we do. But if you're not strapped into that thing nice and tight, it's not going to do you any good. That brings us to the seatbelts, which opens up a whole nother issue, too, because the seatbelt mounts that are in that thing are going to have to go. We know that those aren't going to work. We're going to have to redo those and put some new ones in and get ready for these to keep you in there nice and snugly safe, dude.
Absolutely. Now, one thing you do need to take into consideration is there's a right and a wrong way to mount the shoulder harnesses, and that's really important. See, a lot of people just go ahead and mount them somewhere to the back of the vehicle and thinking they're okay. The problem here is if you've got them up too high like this, you get in an accident, they'll pull you, they'll hold you from going forward, but you're going to slide up inside the vehicle, and Matt's going to hit his big head. That's not a good thing. Now, if you pull him too far down, what'll happen is you get in an accident, it'll actually compress his spine, and Matt'll go from 5'4" to 5'3", and that's not a good thing, especially for him.
Dude, really?
The right way to do it is to make sure that you have a 90-degree angle from your spine to where it's mounted. So depending on how far laid back the seat is, you take that into account. But a 90-degree angle is going to give you enough pull down and back to keep you secure inside your vehicle.
Thank you, doctor.
No problem. Yeah, I've got over 8 inches back here.
You need to bring that down, man.
Yeah. Now, first thing we need to do before we start mounting the body, or our first step in the process, is go ahead and make sure we've got the right ground clearance of our truck. You know, it's all about the foundation before we can start hanging something off of it. Now, it goes back to sanctioning body rules. You've got to have minimums. There's a minimum on how high the chassis is off the ground and how high the body is. Sanctioning body we're going to run is say it's got a frame ground clearance minimum of 6 inches and the body at 4 inches. So what we need to do is go ahead and get a starting point. Now, it's going to vary when we go ahead and put this thing in race conditions, the whole setup of the truck, but we've got to have a good starting point. Otherwise, we won't know where to start hanging the body. Now, the way we're going to do that is, first of all, we're going to make sure we have the right tire pressure in all the tires. Once that's set, we're going to go ahead and adjust the springs right here on all 4 corners. We can make it higher or lower, but we need to at least have the minimum clearance.
Tire pressure is definitely a good thing to pay attention to, because up here in the front right now it's been sitting for a little while, so I'm at about 4 pounds right there. That's way low. I want to bring that up to about what we're going to have it on race day conditions, probably bring it up to 15 or 20, but that's going to raise us up maybe to another half an inch, because right now on this front, when we take a measurement right there, I mean, we're looking at 5.5, so I don't want to adjust the spring just yet before I put some air in this tire. So let's get this baby aired up a little bit, and we'll bring this up and check it out. Now again, it's not going to be perfect because we're going to be adjusting it out on the track and getting it race prepped and all that, but if we can get it as close to that as possible today while we're doing this, it's just a little bit less work we have down the road. So we'll check this out. So that's at about 15, maybe just a little bit more. A little bit more there. All right, now that looks pretty good. That looks a lot better than it did. But let's see how that affected our height right here, because when they check these vehicles, they're going to check this right here behind the front tire, and they're going to check it right in front of the back tire. So that's, man, look at that. B, I'm right at 6 inches, man. Perfect. I might actually just go up just a notch to be on the safe side, just 1/8 of an inch or so. But the other thing is, once we do this on this corner, this, what I just did, is going to affect the rest of the vehicle. So we've got to go all the way around and kind of fine tune it and get it all dialed in. Now the real work begins, my friend, as if there hasn't been enough already. Hey, you know what? Now it's time to start laying in these pieces and parts from the new body. But don't kid yourself. This is not an easy job. This is going to take a long time, so it's not like we're going to bust this out in 5 minutes or even hours or days for that matter. I mean, this is going to take a while, but it's going to look really good when we're done.
So the new body is from Speedway 1. It's an 09 Silverado, and it's much different than the body that was on here before. It's going to look great when it's all done, but if you ever worked with fiberglass before, there's a lot of cutting and channeling and fitting and fine fitting and last fitting and final fitting. It's a lot of work to go. But what we want to do first is get a starting point. Now the roof is a good point to begin with, and that's where we'll base everything off of. And what it says is you're going to have a minimum roof height must be 55.5 inches measured from a point 10 inches behind the windshield. So that's about where we've got our level right there.
Yeah, that's pretty close to 10 inches, and that's at about 56, so we're right there in the ballpark of where we want to be. So that's a good start. That's probably the easiest part of this whole deal.
Yeah, right. From then, we're going to have to see where the quarter panels come off the back of it, but at least we have a starting point, something to begin with.
All right, we need to go to break right now, but when we come back, we're going to keep working on this body.
How can I protect the valves in my classic car now that all gasoline is unleaded? We'll have the answer after the break. How can I protect the valves in my classic car now that all gasoline is unleaded? Carbon and deposit buildups can rob you of performance in your engine. Z-Max will reduce valve stem deposits that cause valve guide and valve stem wear. That's because Z-Max soaks into the metal, with its micro-lubrication process breaking down the carbon as you drive. So keep that classic car on the road with Z-Max. This tip is brought to you by Z-Max, performance you can feel.
Welcome back to TruckU. So the first piece that we worked with as far as our new body goes was the roof right there. We got that centered up nicely. We notched the back so it sits down there right on the frame. That's where it needs to be. We got that in there nice and centered. Basically, we're going to build the rest of the body around that. It's like our little centerpiece, if you will, right? Now, we talked about the fact that this is a big, big job. Very, very time consuming as well. This is one of the little advantages that we might potentially have with this. We don't know just quite how much time this is going to save, but it could save a lot because this is the framework from the existing body that was on here before. Now that body was a little bit different, so we don't know if all this is going to work or not, but you know what? This is going to cut a lot of the work out because we'll be able to use it. We might just have to make some extensions or something like that.
Right, we'll definitely find a way to use it because this way we can just build off if we have to or cut it down, but it's going to give us a big leg up in terms of time. One thing that's neat about this fixture is the fact that the bracketry is made to break away on impact, so what it'll do is it'll fold down, it'll absorb some of the impact if you're out racing. This way, if you just have to change a quarter panel or a bumper or something like that, you don't have to redo all this bracketry, which takes a lot of time. Now, obviously, it's a big incident, well, you're in a different situation. The least of your worries is your brackets that you need to fix.
Yeah, that's true.
Now what we've done is laid out the body on the ground, so we lined up this seam here all the way across. Now we're just trying to get an idea where this thing's going to lay up on the truck, and rather than do them one at a time, you really can't get an idea how the whole thing comes together as a final piece of the puzzle. So what we've done is use vice grips, and a quick tip you want to use is not over tighten the vice grips, and also use ones that have pads on them. This way you won't split the fiberglass.
Yeah, we didn't want to start drilling all the holes just yet. Like we said a little bit ago, we are going to line this up to the roof that's right there. So you ready?
Yeah, bud.
And so we'll bring this up here, and I'm going to put this up. I got a little groove up here on the top, and I'll line this up in the back. And this is going to take some moving and grooving here to do, but you know what? I mean, look at that. Okay.
There you get an idea. I mean, so basically what we're going to have to do is make some extensions off the back of this frame on either side here, and maybe even lower it down over there. We can just drop it down a little bit. But you get an idea as to what we're looking at. Now, obviously, the last thing we need to worry about is stuff like trimming out the fender wells and stuff, but we're not anywhere near that. This body will come off a dozen or so times before we can get to that point, but just want to get a first initial layout of the body.
It's baby steps, man, and we are moving in the right direction. This is good. Welcome back to TruckU. You know, one part of your truck that can really take a pounding, especially if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, is where they're always getting in and out, right? Right there on the sills and in the door jambs, those things can get all beat up. Well, the guys at LMC Truck have got you covered with a full line of replacement parts for your door sill plates and your threshold plates as well.
Now these door sill plate kits will replace your existing worn and beat up ones. Now you add a set of threshold plates here, and what you've got is added protection for the inside of your truck, and you've got a little extra shine, which is nice. Now this kit is for a 1978 to 1987 Chevy truck. Now they've also got complete kits for Chevys, GMCs, and Fords.
LMC Truck has got beautiful full color catalogs with exploded diagrams and all the part numbers that you need, and they have got all kinds of parts for Ford, Chevys, and Dodges going back to the 1940s. Big catalogs, big website, 1-800 number. You can just call up, order the part, and they're going to ship it right to your door. It doesn't get any easier than it is with LMC Truck. Now here's something really cool. It's called the Soft Topper, and what it is, it's a fully retractable soft bed topper for your truck. You can fold it up out of the way when you don't want it, and you can use it as a topper when you do.
You know, with our typical hard top, you need 4 full-size people to move that top off your vehicle. Then you've got to find a place to store it. So when you get one of those, you're pretty much married to it for all practical purposes. Now this is durable enough to act as a full-time top, but it's got that flexibility where you just fold it down out of your way when you want to have full access to your bed.
Another thing that's good is they have them available for all the major manufacturers as well.
And options include a screen on the back, so let's say you want to put your dogs in or use it as a camper, you want to sleep overnight, you can get some fresh air in and out of there.
And it comes with a handy storage bag and a boot cover. It's the Soft Topper, and it's another great idea. Seatbelt Solutions is a company that's known for designing, manufacturing, and refurbishing all types of seatbelts for all vehicles. Now that's great because let's say you've got an older vehicle that didn't originally come with seatbelts. Well, now you can get them. Or if your seatbelts are old and they need to be replaced, the guys at Seatbelt Solutions are going to take care of you.
Now, what they take a lot of pride in is the quality and safety of these belts. They're all manufactured here in the United States under U.S. government guidelines, so they're not some cheap belts flown in from Taiwan. These things are built to the highest quality standards. They're available not only for your everyday driver, but they do stuff for high-end racing applications, so they've seen all ends of the spectrum with this stuff, so you can feel secure inside your vehicle with one of these belts.
And you know, it's all about affordability as well. They've got seat belts for all budgets, so take a look at them. As you can see, a lot of different colors, a lot of different makes and models for all the different vehicles. You know what it is? It's your affordable solution to safety. That's what it's all about with Seatbelt Solutions.
We want to take a second and answer one of your questions from the Ask the Host section of our website. Matt, what do we got today?
Now this is cool. Guy's name is Cameron. He's 16 years old, watches the show all the time, and he's got his first truck, which is awesome, and he's done a ton of things to it. It's almost too much to read right there, but he wants to add some electrical gadgets onto it in addition to everything else that he's done, and he wants to run a dual battery setup, and he wants to know what's the best way to do it.
Well, my suggestion is to definitely use a battery isolator. Now what that's going to do is it'll keep all your hydro electronics from draining the battery when you go to start it. Let's say you leave the radio on and it kills one battery, the one that's hooked to the starter will remain isolated from that draw, so it'll fire up right away. Once the truck gets up and running again, the alternator will start charging and charge up that dead battery. It's definitely the way to go. It won't leave you stranded on the side of the road.
Yeah, the isolator is a good thing to put in there, especially if you're going to run all those electrical gadgets too. So Cameron, congratulations on the truck. Job well done. Keep up the good work and keep us posted. Now we need to go to break. When we come back, we're going to actually see what the race truck looks like with this new body on it.
That I can't wait.
Yeah,
That's
very
cool.
For more information on anything you've seen on today's show, check out speedtv.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
Welcome back to the Duplicolor TV Garage. If you've been following the process and everything that was involved in this 1979 El Camino, you've seen some really cool things. Now, you've seen under the hood, under the vehicle, the tires. Now, it's time for Brian and the guys to show a little bit of love to the inside. And now you can really start seeing it all come together, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting in here, you can really see that it's almost two different cars, and that was the effect we were going for. We painted the dash, the door panels, even the steering wheel, and the headliner.
Now, you did that with this Duplicolor vinyl and fabric coating right there. It goes on nice and easy, and it is pretty unbelievable. And I think the best example of how it works is the steering wheel. You would have no idea that this used to be blue, and all the little pits and grooves in there, it just looks totally natural.
Yeah, absolutely. This product is made specially to be flexible for those vinyl surfaces that are going to, kind of move around a little bit.
Now, you mentioned it. You sit inside of this vehicle and you really do get the feel for it. It's almost like they took two vehicles, cut them in half, and put them together. That's what it looks like when you're sitting in this thing. So, again, fantastic job. You guys did a knockdown job, and I know you've got more to do, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the work keeps going, and you can follow it all. So be sure to check out the Duplicolor TV website and see what these guys are doing, and watch it and see how it all comes together. Get that in there,
got that?
Nice and snug. Yeah, this is actually shaping up. There's still a lot of work to do, but we can really see how this whole project's coming together. It's very nice. Now, once we get all the work done at the end of the tunnel, just when we think that we're all done, there's still more to do, right? Because we're going to have to put the windshield in. We're going to have to build a dash. So even when we've done enough and we think we're there, there's always still going to be more to do.
Yeah, Matt mentioned the windshield, and what's cool is everything from Speedway 1 comes with a kit. Stuff from like your decals here, because some sanctioning bodies call for them to have either real lights or decal lights, that kind of stuff. And they give you a template for the Lexan windshield. Now, the Lexan comes in a big sheet, but it gives you a template so you can cut it out of cardboard to get a rough idea of what it's going to look like. Then you'll have to trim it down from there. But, when you talk about sanctioning body rules and stuff, there's even stuff on the end they throw on you where, windshield angles, all that stuff's got to be accounted for. So lots of little tedious tasks need to be done before this thing's ready to roll.
That's a lot of rules. It would take me some getting used to be honest. But you know what? I'm working on it. Hey, we've been talking about how much work is involved with this process, but we want to thank the guys at Speedway Racing Bodies because they give you everything you need to take a very difficult job and make it as easy as possible.
And I also want to put a thanks to Randy LaJoy and everybody at The Joy of Seating for making that custom seat for me, because I know I feel a whole lot better being in it, getting inside this truck.
Yeah, then that way we don't have to audition new hosts potentially after you go racing with that either. So that's all the time we have today. We need to get back to work, though. We'll see you guys next week. All right, Bruno, realistic track simulation.
All right.
Take one. All right,
it.
that's takeoff right there.
Yeah,
Rocking back.
danger.
Feeling good?
Danger.
Feeling good?
Danger.